strong in twos, I think that's a great opportunity to kind of show off your skill, which what pro player doesn't want to do that?
Yeah, you don't always get the chance to just try out something new, whether it is in ones or twos. That's not usually practice. It's more of you put that up on your own time. You're the one screaming that. You're the one taking those tournaments. Now, you have a chance to do it in the same environment you would normally find the rest of your teammates in. So there is opportunities here to build more of a synergy with the rest of your squad. But I am wondering if the physicality will be a factor as always. Endpoint, very different team than Team Secret. But so far, it has been all of Endpoint that have had control of this ball. They have been putting the pressure on Rogue. It's been up to Rogue to get back to midfield.
And this is very crucial, right? The game one we talked about being very, very important here in these series. Of course, honestly, game one's important in any type of series.
Sure.
But for Rogue here, I don't think they're necessarily favored in this, especially since they're not playing with their full roster. And so if they can keep this one close or even come out with a win, I think Rogue's chances of winning the series just go up astronomically, because I do think Endpoint are more than likely going to sweep the threes, which will probably lead to a victory whether or not Rogue can do anything about it in the ones or twos.
Right, and even looking back to Rogue's placements during the charity tournament, of course, they dropped down after losing to Space Station. They got swept. They took out Sonics 3-1. And then they played all mid, and they lost in game 5. And I was wondering, you know, is this just kind of the way things are going to go for Rogue, so close to over the hurdle, but not quite there? Instead, they have a chance now with a new teammate, at least just for the time being, to potentially right the wrongs and continue a winner's bracket run, which would be something new so far for this amalgamation of the team. But early on, it really just has been Endpoint, kind of controlling the pace. Another shot from Archie, quickly saved by Rogue. And I've been very impressed with the defensive stops of Rogue today, up to Zanil, oftentimes taking the ball to the backboard, down to the sidewall. And I wonder if that will continue against a team like Endpoint.
And I don't think Rogue necessarily play a very typical NA style. While obviously every team relies on counterattacks to a certain degree, I do think Rogue, if they are able to, they will press very hard. The issue is they don't have the consistency in that. They do get backed up quite a bit. They get outpaced in a lot of their games, and it makes them look very defensive. But if Rogue can get going, they definitely will put on the pressure. Again, I do think it comes down to that twos mentality of just wanting to put on high pressure and keeping the opposition awkward.
Sure.
But Rogue doing a good job of just kind of turning away Endpoint here a few times and trying to put on some pressure, as Endpoint have been very slow to kind of keep possession. They've done a good job, but being slow isn't necessarily a negative here in this context. Keeping possession,
yeah,
and making sure that it's tough for Rogue to kind of break out with either boost or the ball.
And both teams doing a nice job of just making it more difficult for either side to get a clean possession. And for Rogue, that's a blessing. For Endpoint, it's basically just staying into the play as Mensanorris will cut it down towards the midfield. Not a lot of boost to continue on. He'll leave it up for Relating Wave on the challenge. But even here, a lot of chip shots that are pulling Rogue off the back line and trying to force players like Zanil and Gyro to take these challenges one-on-one. But they don't have the boost to recover. Immediately back from the side wall. Relating Wave trying to get a shot. Demo will be there. But nothing else for the moment. Make that 2. Off the defensive end, Rogue trying to stop this push, and they do so.
And you really can't give Archie that type of space. I mean, we talked about it a little bit, how strong he is just individually. And Rogue, I think, getting a little taste of that there. And another player to point out, too, we talked about Relating Wave just a little bit, but Mensanorris, he's always just been a rock for every single team he's been on. And one of the most experienced players in the game, as a second touch almost went through for Rogue, looking for follow-up, and Gyro will put it away as Rogue strike first.
Sometimes it's a little scary. The ball just kind of hangs around. You're like, is anybody going to come finish this play? Yes, all of us. Thank you. Okay, Gyro is there to put it away. 1-0. And finally, the defense does break, but it doesn't feel like we've burned about 3 minutes a game. It really just came off the opening kickoff, and it's been back and forth since. There's still plenty of time for Endpoint to have a response. And with Relating Wave flying upfield like this and looking for that quick bump onto Zanil, he could open up something nice for Endpoint.
And Endpoint, again, just going back to Mensanorris before Rogue scored, I do think he's a great rock for them in their threes.
Of course.
Just high consistency in the midfield and defensively. Archie here putting one off the crossbar, and Endpoint able to tie things up with a minute left to play.
That's the danger right there. Is Relating Wave got the second touch, got it around Zanil, and then the small, slight hesitation before the immediate dagger from Archie. And I feel like a lot of people have forgotten just how good Archie is, especially when he closes down towards the goal line. We saw it a lot on Top Blokes when that roster was basically making runs against Vitality, when they were going head-to-head against BDS and BDS's early heydays. That roster was disgusting in large part to Archie, and he has continued to be one of those premier talents that maybe doesn't get the same respect he probably should. And even here, you just see that, yeah, he's good from basically anywhere, but especially when you have to have him close out a goal.
Yeah, he's kind of suffering from success a little bit. After RLCSX, he was statistically the best player in the region by a wide margin for most of the season until he kind of went a little cold towards the end. But, you know, since then, it's tough to repeat a performance like that, especially if you're not on a team like PDS, where,
right.
At least in RLCS, where you were winning almost every single regional. And so for him to put on that type of performance in that type of environment, I mean, that's why he has the name he has. And Metzenaris coming through like the rock he is and dunks Rogue back the other way.
Oh, when you got to bet on something late in a game to give you the lead, Zanil. Don't think he read it wrong, just kind of got caught where the ball was moving. And at that point, and Metzenaris is flying upfield. You better start praying if you don't already, because it's going to be tough to stop. Quick lead right back as Endpoint will try to hold on for the last 12 or so seconds. And Archie going to take it off the sidewall, and the kickoff gets it around 1, potentially 2. Had 2 resets to go with it, but couldn't find the goal. That one's on target, a little bit wide. Got to keep it up now if you're Rogue. And it will touch. So game 1, Endpoint, and it's Metzenaris who steals it away.
Not the worst game for Rogue if you're a Rogue fan out there. They kept it close. That's what's important. And again, we're going to see another threes game. So Rogue will have to win that one if they don't win this game. But I'm curious, and I was thinking about this, and now that Rogue has officially lost, do you go with the 2s or the 1s? That's really the question, because I think Rogue's strongest is the 2s, but they are the only team so far. I mean, I know the other series is going, but they're the only team so far that's taken the 1s game. So I'm curious if they go for the 1s because of how well Taroko had played earlier, or if they want that 2s game. I would bet that they're probably going to go with 2s.
Yes.
Just because I think that's where they have the most confidence. I don't think they want to pull out the 1v1 if they don't need to. And I think, again, 2s, we've talked about it all the way up until now. It is, I think, the strongest game mode, and even they say is their strongest game mode. So it has to be 2s from Rogue.
Yeah, if this game 1 had been a blowout or it had been just a complete breakdown from Rogue and they looked lost, I think maybe they go to 1s at that point. Because, like, okay, this is not working. But they held the lead up until around like a minute ago, and then they ended up losing it in the end. But that was close for Rogue. Like, that was a quality loss. We don't say that often, but like, it was a quality loss. And at this point, there's no reason you wouldn't trust your 2s game, given that I believe Gyro and Zanil are going to be the ones playing. They looked very, very good in the last time they touched the ball. So I'm interested to see how Rogue makes small adjustments, because I'm sure they will. But yeah, I think that's the right call all the way through.
And I was going to touch on it before we jumped into the game, what we would see from Endpoint. Arching related wave is definitely, I think, the play to go here. You have the great skill in Archie, but oh my, as soon as I say it, the double tap coming out in the first 10 seconds, 15 seconds of the game. Oh, it's just wide open off the backboard.
That's so hot. I mean, Gyro tried his best. He really did. He had to put a hand up, but you're not going to miss much. As soon as you get the clean touch off the backboard and no one else is around, like, you're asking Archie just to pick his poison. He's going to find something.
And getting a good sucker punch like that from Endpoint is exactly what you need if you're going to take down Rogue. You really,
and especially when you're starting in the first 20 seconds.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah, you got to stick it to him right off the bat, because again, I think the key to success for Endpoint, because of the confidence from Rogue in 2s, you really have to keep that pressure on, and Archie's definitely the man to do it.
Well, there's a lot of time on the clock. We've seen comebacks of all types, but for Rogue, you're going to have to be able to meet kind of that aggression from Archie. That's the big factor. If you could take the ball away from him or find demos, cut his lane down, you have a chance. That one's a little bit high. Might have hit the backboard, but regardless, cleared away. And Relating Wave doing a very nice job of playing it down as it carries itself towards the corner. He will save it, get it towards the front of the box, cleared out by Archie. And right now, Endpoint are doing a nice job of playing boom ball. As soon as they get boost, they're forcing Rogue to have to fly into the play and meet the challenge.
Yeah, it's frustrating for Rogue right now. A lot of possession from Endpoint, using each other. Now a demo comes out, and Related Wave did get that boost. This one's going to be dropped down from Archie. Not going to be too threatening here. This is a good touch from Zanil, trying to keep pressure. Has some boost now, and a little flick on, and he gets by the first man. Archie had to bail out Relating Wave there. Rogue trying to threaten something here in the first minute and a half, as it's really been all Endpoint just controlling this game.
Endpoint, of course, already lead the series 1-0 for just joining us. You've only missed a couple, but in this one, it was a very close game. The Musty almost redirects down. That's still not good enough. Good save from Endpoint to deny shot after shot and follow-up, as surely Rogue thought they had themselves a goal.
Yeah, what a play from Rogue there. And I mean, even more impressive maybe was the defense from Endpoint. They were lucky that Musty there went just a bit too high, and the follow-up shot was also blocked. So great defense there from Endpoint, not panicking. But Rogue definitely getting more and more of a foothold here in game 2. The pass out. Zeniil can't get over it. Good plays, though, from Rogue, trying to keep that pressure on. Zeniil's going to have to curve back around here to get a touch on it. Relating Wave will dunk him. That one's going to go off the post. Gyro was just there in time. Now Zeniil. This is what he was brought on to do. He gets by 1. And unfortunately, Rogue can't get by 2.
And I think Rogue recognized that they're not allowed to give up the midfield for free. Like, they're going to... Wow, that was almost disgusting. They're going to have to start challenging immediately on the point of contact with all these touches, whether it's a pass that goes awry or an awkward 50. They're going to have to meet the ball every single place because Endpoint are relentless. They're not going to give up on an easy touch. They're not going to let you get anything for free. And so far, it's paid off for them. They have a 1-0 lead, and they've maintained that for about 2 minutes now, with still 2 minutes to play as we hit just under that mark. It's up to Rogue to have to meet the challenge downfield. If they can get a counterattack going, there's a chance. That'll be towards the front of the box, and again, saved away.
Ooh, dangerous ball here. Archie, second touch. No more boost. He can't get down to it. That was an easy touch for him if he had some boost. But a great initial touch to keep it dangerous. Now Archie again called upon defensively. Gyro wants to take to the sky looking for the dunk. As Rogue trying to position themselves to tie things up. That one's going to come off the back wall. Gyro too far back. Archie now wanting to take it away, looking for the bump, chasing Gyro, and Gyro does get away from it. A minute and a half left to play. Both sides starting to get the better of each other as Zeniil won't get through Archie. A good shot here from Gyro is weak. And Endpoint still denying Rogue every time they move down the field.
And it's been a stellar defensive effort from Endpoint. And the big thing is that, one, Rogue aren't getting a lot of passes or touches towards the backboard, so they're not having to pull Endpoint off the play. But every single time Rogue put a shot on target, oh my goodness, that recovery is just filthy.
The flip reset from relating Wave is perfect, but what's even more perfect is the delay on it. And I think that's really what threw off Zeniil. He saw Gyro go up for it and thought that Gyro might have a little bit more. And Zeniil, you can see, kind of stutter stepped on it too. And that just slowed him down enough. Using that flip, got him through the defense there. And Endpoint now double up their lead. Hello?
Okay. Rogue's here. That's an interesting one. Yeah, so Relating Wave got slightly bumped, and Gyro takes the boost. That's just, okay. Like, you got caught. Cool. Let's go to the next one.
So, yeah, I mean, he was definitely getting bullied by Gyro, and then he flipped out, and I don't think he had any more boost because he had 0.
Yeah.
And that's just awkward to see that one trickle in. When you don't have boost, that's when those will trickle in like that. And
I didn't expect it from that angle. I'm like, okay, maybe no, he does not have it. Okay.
But definitely a chance here for Rogue. They're going to need a second touch here. Still dangerous. Looking for follow-up. It's there. A big save, though, from Archie. Once again, defensively, Endpoint coming up huge.
These reads have been perfect. They've always had someone in position just to get a clean, clear on the ball. These saves have just been flat-out textbook, as Endpoint have not had to work overtime in the goal. Almost a great pass. Still looking for the redirect. It won't be there. Relating Wave on a breakaway chance. Can't get it over Zeniil. Back to the midfield line. Zeniil.
He's got boost.
Just got to get over Archie, but Archie reads it perfectly, and the reads from Endpoint have been so dang good. 3-1 will close out this one, and now Endpoint are up 2-0.
And this is where it gets a little dicey for Rogue because you just lost what, even self-proclaimed, this is your strongest game mode. And losing that is a huge, I think, blow to not only morale, but obviously in the series they're down 2-0. They have to go back to the 3v3s now. Now they had, I think, actually a closer game in threes than maybe they did in twos. But I don't think that's ideal if you're Rogue. You would have really much rather had that twos game in your back pocket, knowing that would be the dub.
Yeah, and it really was just credit to Endpoint's defense. Like, they were keeping Rogue's shot selection simple, and it was easy to save from that. Like, Archie literally just had to jump in the front of the net and save it away, and they denied Rogue so much space towards the backboard. At the end of the day, when you limit Rogue's chances, they're only going to have a couple of ways they can shoot the ball, and Endpoint were quickly able to take the ball away, go downfield, and get these ridiculous counterattacks, whether it was individual plays or through the sky with Archie. I think that right now, Endpoint just kind of has Rogue's number, and this is kind of the Endpoint that many expected to see.
And you're absolutely right. I like the point you brought up because I do think it is Endpoint's defense that really won them that game. Of course, the offense was fantastic. Great plays from Archie and Relating Wave. Both had some double taps in there. But it was that defense that held their lead because it wasn't like Rogue was just smothered in that game. They had plenty of opportunity and they had plenty of shots. Unfortunately, the shot selection wasn't necessarily the best. Setup was great from Rogue, but the shots were directly at defenders or right in the middle of the net. They were a lot easier saves than maybe what they looked like, but some great defense nonetheless from Endpoint to kind of turn away Rogue. And now Rogue forced to go in a position I don't think they would want, and that's winning a threes game against an Endpoint squad that's been playing together for a while now, and I think is definitely favored in this game mode.
Yeah, and as good as Endpoint are, it really is a bit of a shock that Rogue kind of faltered, at least creatively, with their shot selection in game 2, because, well, the question was, do you put Taroko in for ones or do you bring in the twos squad? And twos is their best game mode by far. And really nothing came of it. Like you said, they looked better in the threes. So now is a chance where you win this, you keep the series alive. You don't, you go to the lower bracket. It is a bit surprising. Now, granted, Endpoint could still very easily win this series, but the fact that Rogue have kind of looked a little bit shaken in that twos is going to potentially play a factor here, as it looks like a dangerous save that eventually leads to a interesting assist towards the back wall, as Zanil will go for the clear, and Archie cutting it down immediately right there. And that's the type of Endpoint offense that you expect, right back into the play. They immediately get a touch on the ball and they set themselves up.
Oh my goodness, Zanil, oh my goodness, what on earth was that touch? Beautiful pass downfield from Taroko, but look at the flick on from Zanil. The defense cannot react to a shot like that. That's the spark that Rogue needs in this series.
Can't hit it any harder. It's 126, so you better start using that and start sparking the engine right now, because I don't know what else you're going to do. As Relating Wave tries to play toward the backboard and a clear for Rogue before it's quickly cut down, and Metanoris tries to find something, but you know, maybe that is the goal, Crowley. Maybe that's the one thing that all of a sudden Rogue turned it around.
You better hope so.
If it takes that, it better.
Yeah. And I think Endpoint a little stunned by that one, of course, but they definitely have control of the midfield as they did in the first game. And it feels like they're just chipping away at Rogue, but maybe this one goal could be the difference. Gyro, I think, wanted to pass over to his teammate. Still plenty of time left on the clock. It will not just be a one-goal difference, if I had to guess. Well, at least it'll take more than one goal to take down Endpoint if Rogue were to do so. I think a lot of people are looking forward to more 1v1 matches. And from the looks of it, I do think we did get one in the G2 Luminosity matchup. I think Mist was actually put in for G2 against Atomic. So I think that'll be the second ones game that we've gotten so far in this tournament. Rogue and Team Secret, of course, the other one, the first one of this series, or the day, excuse me. And I would love to see Rocky back in the 1v1 again, as he did so well against Team Secret. But they got to get through this threes game, and they're almost halfway through, still holding on to that one-goal lead.
And it's been essentially the same offense for Endpoint. Granted, Rogue's defense is keeping them from getting those second and third touches, which certainly helps, but the midfield pressure's been there. That's a great shot. Diving save there from Zanil, but not enough of the extra tank. He had no boost left, and Archie was right there.
Oh, yeah, what are you going to do when Archie's barreling down inside your box? Slots it to the left side. That's a great, just difficult touch there from Relating Wave to make it tough for Zanil to get the clear. And that's exactly what you want. The setup was there, and Archie was there to collapse, and an easy slot to the left side. And you know he's going to put it away every single time. We're tied up just past halfway. Rogue held on to that lead for a little while, but it might slip away as Endpoint now look to threaten. Here's Zanil again.
Oh, what a pass from Taroko. Almost got the back touch as well. And if you're Rogue, you're going to know that. Like, you're going in knowing that they're going to get a goal or two. That's going to be just a common denominator. And now the question is, can you respond? Can you keep them at bay for as long as possible? Because it's been about 2 minutes in this game doing just that. You do eventually concede one, but in the end, it is against Archie. You tip the cap, you go next. Now it's up to Rogue's offense to do more than their defense has done.
And again, it's still a tight series, or excuse me, a tight game here in the 3v3. And I think for Rogue, you're getting about as good as you want out of this squad. Zanil already performing the way you would want him as well. And defensively, they've been able to hold on. And a lot of tough attacks coming out from Endpoint. Here's Archie again, calling his own number as Gyro had a perfect read on him. Now Taroko, bit of boost here. Can he get back to it? He tries to dunk it. Good defense here from Endpoint. Still Rogue threatening, another one turned away. Endpoint's defense holding on.
Good cut down, but immediately challenged and responded by from Endpoint. They're not going to let Rogue clear this ball for free. You're going to have to play it high off the backboard as Rogue do now, but there's Archie for the read. Oh my goodness, no way! No, there is no shot. This dude is human.
I looked like he had messed up, but he really just was landing on it the whole time. And you kind of you sit there wondering where was Rogue, and I think they were kind of confused on what Archie was getting.
Yeah.
Because it looked like he was going to get the touch, and then he went under and landed on top of it as well. And that's just great misdirection coming out from Archie.
He sent the ball far post on a simple pinch. Like, yeah, that dude, when he's playing at his best, he is like top 5 in Europe. That's the Archie that we had watched for months and months and months on end. And if you're seeing him for the first time, you are blessed. The dude is insane, and Metz and Norris almost made it a 2-goal game for Rogue. On the verge of being swept, they need something here, and they have yet to respond to Archie. Now a chance towards the box, saved.
20 seconds left. Like you said, Rogue just looking for one more opportunity, but this is all they've really had. It's just boom ball straight into the hands of Endpoint every single time. This might be their last go. Zanil off the corner. Follow-up was there, but Endpoint too quick on it. Still Taroko doing a good job of keeping this one dangerous. Tried to play it across, but Sanaris will put an end to it. This one boom downfield. Zanil just getting there in time, but they got to go the length of the field. If you're Rogue, the dunk down will end it. Endpoint in a 3-0 taking down